Welcome to Defense Upcast, your weekly deep dive into the technology, strategy, and geopolitics shaping tomorrow's world. In 2016, something impossible happened. For the first time in history, Russian and Pakistani soldiers trained together on Pakistani soil. Helicopters roared overhead. Assault rifles cracked in synchronized drills. Two nations that had spent the Cold War on opposite sides of the world were now allies. India watched in disbelief. For 70 years, Russia had been India's most trusted arms supplier. Now, Moscow was shaking hands with New Delhi's greatest enemy. But here's the truth. Most defense analysts won't tell you. This alliance might be the greatest illusion in modern geopolitics. This is the story of Russia-Pakistan defense cooperation, where optics matter more than reality. To understand why this partnership is so shocking, you need to go back to 1947. When Pakistan was born, the world was dividing into two camps: American capitalism and Soviet communism. Pakistan chose the West. It joined American-led military alliances, hosted CIA listening posts near the Soviet border, and became Washington's Cold War partner in South Asia. Russia, meanwhile, fell in love with India. By the 1960s, Moscow was selling MiG fighter jets, T-72 tanks, and nuclear submarine technology to New Delhi. India became the world's largest buyer of Soviet weapons. The relationship was unshakable. Pakistan turned to China. And for decades, this triangle held: China armed Pakistan, Russia armed India, and everyone knew their place. Then 2014 happened. Russia annexed Crimea. The West slammed Moscow with sanctions. European and American defense contracts evaporated overnight. Suddenly, Russia needed new customers, and it needed to prevent Pakistan, a nuclear state sitting on China's Belt and Road Corridor, from becoming a Western intelligence hub again. In 2014, Moscow lifted its decades-old arms embargo on Pakistan. The game had changed. So what exactly did Russia sell to Pakistan? On paper, it looks impressive. In 2016, Russia agreed to sell Pakistan 4 Mi-35 attack helicopters, the same gunships that terrorized Afghan mujahideen in the 1980s. Pakistan called it a game changer. Then came the joint military exercises, Druzhba, which means friendship in Russian. Russian paratroopers dropped into the mountains of Gilgit-Baltistan alongside Pakistani special forces. The symbolism was nuclear. Russia was training troops. In territory that India claims as its own, India's response was swift and furious. Defense Minister Manohar Parrikar warned Moscow this was a violation of trust. Indian media exploded with headlines about betrayal. But here's what those headlines missed. The deals were tiny. 4 helicopters. Not 40. Not 400. 4. For comparison, India had over 200 Russian helicopters in service at that time. Russia wasn't replacing India with Pakistan. It was sending a message: diversification. And there's more. Those Mi-35s, they were downgraded export models, stripped of advanced avionics. Russia wasn't giving Pakistan cutting-edge technology, it was giving them optics. The joint exercises told the same story. Druzhba involved fewer than 200 troops total. Compare that to India's Indra exercises with Russia, involving thousands of soldiers, tanks, fighter jets, and naval vessels. The scale wasn't even close. So why do it at all? 3 reasons. First, money. Russia's defense industry was hemorrhaging after sanctions. Even small contracts mattered. Second, geopolitics. Russia wanted Pakistan to stay neutral in its growing rivalry with the West. And third, China. Beijing quietly encouraged this partnership. Why? Because a Pakistan aligned with Russia is a Pakistan less vulnerable to American pressure. And that protects China's $62 billion investment in the China-Pakistan economic corridor. But the real question is, did Pakistan get what it wanted? Pakistan's goal was clear: break free from the Made in China label, diversify its arsenal, gain legitimacy on the global stage by partnering with a P5 UN Security Council member, signal to Washington that it had options. But Russia never delivered the crown jewels: no S-400 missile systems, no Su-35 fighter jets, no nuclear submarine technology. The kind Russia gives to India without hesitation, Pakistan asked. Russia smiled and changed the subject. Why? Because Moscow knows its limits. Selling advanced weapons to Pakistan would obliterate its $10 billion annual defense trade with India. And Russia can't afford that. India still buys more Russian weapons than the next 5 customers combined, so Russia gave Pakistan just enough to annoy India, but not enough to lose it. So where does this leave us today? The Russia-Pakistan defense relationship has plateaued. After the initial flurry of headlines, the deals dried up. The last major announcement was in 2018, an agreement to build a Pakistan-Russia gas pipeline, not a weapons deal. Meanwhile, Russia and India have only grown closer in the areas that matter. In 2021, India signed a $543 billion deal to buy Russian S-400 air defense systems, despite American sanctions threats. Russia is co-developing a fifth-generation fighter jet with India. Moscow shares submarine nuclear propulsion secrets with New Delhi that it won't even discuss with Beijing. Pakistan got photo ops. India got submarines, but the optics still matter. In geopolitics, perception shapes reality. Russia's willingness to engage Pakistan, even superficially, forced India to diversify too. New Delhi started buying more American, French, and Israeli weapons. The monopoly was broken. For Pakistan, the Russia experiment proved something painful. You can't buy strategic depth. Alliances aren't built on press releases. They're built on decades of trust, shared technology, and mutual vulnerability. Pakistan and Russia have none of that. China remains Pakistan's only real patron, and that comes with strings attached. As for Russia, it learned it could flirt with Pakistan without losing India, as long as it never went past flirting. Moscow played both sides and walked away richer. In the ruthless calculus of arms sales, that's called winning. In the end, Russia-Pakistan defense cooperation is exactly what it appears to be, a transaction dressed up as a partnership. There are no joint weapons factories, no technology transfers, no mutual defense treaties, just enough engagement to keep Pakistan interested, and not enough to make India walk away. It's a masterclass in strategic ambiguity because in the 21st century, alliances aren't black and white. They're shades of gray, written in contracts with escape clauses. Russia doesn't need to choose between India and Pakistan. It just needs them both to keep buying, and as long as that's true, the optics will always matter more than the reality.
Set the stage for
This
translation.
has been the untold story of Russia-Pakistan defense
Of US major
cooperation,
non-NATO
where
ally,
handshakes
if it
make
continues
headlines,
to give
but the fine print tells the truth.